Deep cross, a good cross! What a finish that is! Hans Hatterboer for Atalanta. And Gozens turns from goal scorer to provider. Papu Gomez worked the room for the shot. Oh, that's magical. From the magic man, Papu Gomez. Just when it looked like Lazio were getting back into it, he does that.
The Calcio Guys is a weekly podcast by Adreano, Gianni and myself, Nicholas Di Giovanni. We want to bring Calcio back to its roots in our communities and share stories from around the world about why we're passionate about the beautiful game. You can listen to us anywhere where you listen to your podcasts, including Spreaker, Google Podcasts, iTunes, Spotify, iHeart Radio, and Mixcloud. Give us your opinion on social media at The Calcio Guys on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The intro song is Fireworks by Jazar. Slowly getting into the groove of things in the Serie A and also here on the Calcio Guys with Gianni Adreano Donardo, and this week special guests right off the top of the show, Shawn McIntosh and Dan Pezzotta, Lazio fans, Atalanta fans. Guys, how's everybody doing?
Some better than others.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah, I can't complain right now.
We got highs, we got lows on this show. Maybe some tears, maybe some jabs. I don't know, but I think it should be a good episode with the Vegas Derby on the pod tonight.
Yeah, the two Vegas guests. Even though Sean's in, he's on the East Coast now, still repping Vegas though.
Absolutely.
I guess we'll go right off the bat. So little bit of a different thing this week with two guests. Atalanta and Lazio played each other today. Obviously, the big match of the week, even though it was the match day 1 game, was played after match day 2. Only in Italy does that happen. I guess we'll go right off the bat. We'll start with the winning side with Dan. What did you just see today?
Well, I don't know, man. I you just never know, right? So I guess both Shawn and I, we copped out a little bit on our predictions and we said a 2-2 draw. But, what we were saying is it's not about the final score. It's who goes ahead and who pegs the other person back. And I thought I was looking pretty good because I said that we were going to go ahead and Lazio was going to come back and peg us back, but that never happened. So, what a performance. I'm definitely a letdown for Lazio, but there was a couple things that we could have done better, but God, I worship at the Church of Atalanta, and Papu Gomez is her prophet. Let me tell you, that fourth goal just killed everything. I was like, oh, this ain't gonna happen anymore because Papu just put in a fourth. So can't complain about what happened by my boys on the pitch today in Rome. Can you get two?
I'll say this. So you said that technically this was match day 1. So as far as I'm concerned, match day 2, Lazio won, so we're coming off of a victory last match. So I don't even know. Match day 1 was so long ago. But
McIntosh mind games. Mind games.
Look, in terms of this match, brutal disappointment. Yeah, I said it in a couple other shows with Dan. I thought this was going to be a major litmus test, for both of these clubs, especially early on. Certainly some things that were really positive for Lazio. I thought for much of the match, in terms of just run of play, possession, they looked like the better team in a lot of ways. And I thought they controlled a lot of the match and they played their style of football. What was super concerning was lapses in the defense, obviously missed assignments. Marusic, talk about a swing in a week for him. He goes from being man of the match in that first game to, the scapegoat in game 2. So for us, we can't give up opportunities. And look, hats off to Atalanta because you want to talk about a clinical match. I mean, holy crap. What was it? 3 shots, 3 goals to start the match. I mean, what can you do with that? It's insane. And so, certainly some positive takeaways. I want to say that, I can't remember. I've got a terrible memory, so somebody feel free to correct me. But look, I can't remember a score line looking like that with a performance from Lazio that I thought was relatively positive. And so you'd look at it and you'd think, 100% outmatched. And in a lot of ways they were, because Lazio did not have the clinical finish. I thought, here we come, when all of a sudden, Lazio scores one. And then Cheeto, you talk about two big moments. Dan mentioned the first one, Papu scoring that fourth goal, essentially closed the door on the comeback. But the big one on the opposite shoe was Cheeto missing, what I thought was a bunny, what I thought was a goal that he typically scores. And so him missing that only gave Papu the chance, which obviously clinical finish for his second, his brace for the match. But, tale of two sides, a lot of things that just went a little bit unlucky for Lazio. Atalanta capitalized, and in many ways, not to discredit, but, whether it's luck or just things bouncing their way, from referee calls to just absolutely finishing, to missed assignments on Lazio's side, to obviously doing everything right. And Gasperini coming prepared for this one. So, tale of two sides. I didn't think it was as bad as the scoreline would suggest, though.
Very interesting points. I think you guys both bring up good points. You guys are behaving so far on the pod, which we appreciate. So, maybe we can save the jobs for later. But, just a question we had marked down. Just, it's a pretty broad question, but Mercato. We're still in the Mercato at the moment, and we like to call it Mercato madness over here because there's all kinds of madness that goes along with it. But both squads, Atalanta and Lazio, have kept that core group, that core identity, those core ideas and tactics. What have you made, guys, of the Mercato so far for both clubs? Is there a lack thereof for one club or the other, or were there good buys? How can these players coming in fit into the systems of your clubs? Whoever wants to take that away.
Yeah. Look, I'll say this. Lazio closed the door essentially on their Mercato after this Andreas Pereira signing. And so they've essentially said, job done. We're closing the Mercato. I hope this ass whooping maybe creaks open that door a little bit.
Or a wake-up call.
Yeah, well, maybe
a parent ass whooping. A parent ass whooping.
Yeah. Look, but maybe it shows some of the holes in the defense. I tweeted out kind of a joke like, "We've got Wesley Hutt. Don't worry, Laziale. Like, we've got Wesley Hutt coming," as if he's the one that's going to kind of shore things up for us. And so overall, I do think it was a pretty positive Mercato. We haven't been able to see our big signings yet. Murici, he had to be quarantined because of COVID. He hasn't been on the roster. We've got obviously Andreas Pereira. All those details have to be closed up. That's essentially done, but we know with Lazio, nothing's never done until you see that player actually donning that kit. And so those are two really positive signings. I think a big one that really shed light after today's performance is Fares to be. A lot of folks thought he would be coming in slotted as our starting left wing back after Madusic's first performance. People are like, maybe he's going to have to really fight for that position. After today's game, you kind of see that Madusic still has a lot to learn. He's not a natural left wing back. So most likely, I think it's going to be a critical role. I pegged Fares to be our most important signing. I think he's going to be the one when you look back on this season that really adds the most. We need him to be. So overall decent, but in order for me to give it an A, I needed a really solid center back. I really wanted Kumbula. I ripped Roma's Mercato for the most part, but I did think their signing, up until them getting Kumbula, I thought they had a pretty bad Mercato, but I all the credit to them because I do think he's a really strong center back with Serie A experience at that young age. So I thought a missed opportunity for Lazio on that front. We'll see if Wesley Hutt, can provide any depth. But overall, I'd probably give us a B.
Okay, fair.
Interesting.
I think Roma's just touching upon that. I think Roma still needs to add a couple of pieces, like a replacement for Dzeko at the 70th minute, but I'll get onto that later. How about you, Dan? What do you think about Atalanta's mercato? They always seem to be. We like to make a joke like they play Moneyball, but like Atalanta style, where they get these guys for like really amazing deals that are all like amazing role players. What do you think?
Well, before we talk about who we brought in, I want to talk about who left. That was the one big guy, and that was Tim Castagna. And, I'm a huge Tim Castagna fan. To have somebody like that who can play on both wings, and we know how important wingbacks are to Gasparini's system, that was a big loss. Probably the one that we could stomach the most leaving, probably because we couldn't get that kind of money for Hateboer. And because Gosens is just too important. I mean, we saw how Gosens and Hateboer were today. So that was a big loss. He's obviously doing well in the Premiership. And good on you, Chestnuts. We hope you do well. We're following you over there. But we definitely needed some help in defense. We were linked with a lot of people, and we brought over Cuti Romero from Juventus, who was on loan at Genoa. So I thought that was a good signing. He looked terrible today, but it was his first game back as he was suspended in match day 2, since this was match day 1. So there's some work to be done there. Mattia Caldara looked terrible against Torino. So I think that we now have 6 center backs who can rotate in and play. So I think that we're okay there at center back. When it comes to wing backs, obviously we needed to replace Tim Castagna, and we have Christian Piccini from Valencia. It's nice to have another Italian on the team, because last season not a single Italian scored for Atalanta in 98 goals. But he's injured right now, and the rumor is that Gasparini is not convinced that he's going to be a good fit for us. So it looks like we were linked to De Paul from Sampdoria, which I think would actually be a good signing for us. On the left-hand side of the wing-backs, you saw him today. We saw Johan Mojica, who's on loan from Girona, and another Colombian to add to the team. He was great in the World Cup a couple of years ago, and he's got fantastic hair. And he looks like a pretty good pickup for us. Obviously, we've just seen a little bit, but he's got a lot of energy. He smiles a lot, and he's going to be good for the team. And I think that it helps to have Muriel and Zapata as he's coming to a new country, to have that familiarity. And then everything else was all up top, right? Alexei Miranchuk, he gave Juventus fits in their Champions League match, and so it was great. We beat Milan to his signature, which I thought was really, really great. We haven't seen him yet. He's still injured. We've always talked about needing a vice Ilicic, and I can't think of a young player that looked more like a baby Ilicic than Miranchuk. And so I think he's going to be good when he comes in. And then we had Sam Lammers come in from PSV. He's played a couple of minutes there. Looks pretty good. Don't know too much about him. The big hole that we have, though, is coverage for central midfield. We know how important Freuler and De Roon are. And when I saw the lineup today against Lazio, I'm sure all Atalantini did the same thing as me, is that all of our buttholes clenches when we saw Pasalic in central midfield paired with Freuler and De Roon on the bench. That's always a little scary for us, but it ended up being okay, because after 10 minutes, basically, Gasparini was like, you go forward, Tapu, you come into the middle. So we really haven't been linked with a central midfielder. So I think that's our biggest hole right now. And then bonus signing that not really is a signing is when Joseph Ilicic comes back. You can't see it, but this is an Ilicic jersey right here. So we're excited to hopefully after the international break to probably see Miranchuk and Ilicic back on the bench for Atalanta. So I would give us a B+, A- if we had a central midfielder in there. I would give us an A+. I think it's been a good market for us.
Just what Atalanta needs, right, boys? More help in the attack.
We're on pace. We're on pace.
152
goals.
I was about to say.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
That actually leads up to my next question. Do you think, obviously, because the game 3 is going to be against Cagliari, and it might be another blowout, but when it hits game 4 versus Napoli, do you think maybe things start to slow down a bit? Do you think, are they overproducing, or do you think no, mind you, what did they get last year? 100 something, was 108 goals?
98.
Huh?
98.
98.
Yeah, 98.
Sorry, I was too generous then, my bad. But do you think maybe they can hit that target again? Or do you think maybe this is just a quick high for them?
No, I think that we can do that again. Again, I think that the issue is what's our goal difference going to be, you know? So, like, how many goals are we going to concede? Well, we'll score, I think, over 100 goals this year, especially with the players that we brought in from the market. It's going to be attack, attack, attack. All of a sudden, we only need one central midfielder and Freuler, and Papu Gomez is in there buzzing around. De Roon's on the bench. What is going on? So, you know, I actually am nervous about the Cagliari game more so than this Lazio game, because if we lose this game, we lose to Lazio. But this game against Cagliari is one of those games that we lose, right? You come off of 2 great games and then you lose a game like this Cagliari. Our season will be made in the first 2 months, I think. So it's important that we get this win. And then when the Napoli game comes around, I will be nervous as well because they look pretty damn good.
So I want to ask both of you about Champions League. Sean, I apologize because I tweeted today. I said I
saw it. I got the receipts.
My God.
The way Lazio played today, or the way they looked against a team that was, you know, a couple minutes away from beating PSG, like I personally think they still have ways to go before they could really compete in the Champions League. I mean that's just how I see it. How do you see it? How do you see that? And between both of you guys, who do you think is going to go farther in Champions League, Atalanta or Lazio?
So how do I see Lazio as a Champions League team? I mean, look, the biggest concern that was talked about was their lack of depth. I think that lack of depth was greatly exaggerated. I mean, it's a team that was unfortunately just brutalized from COVID, saw a ton of injuries that weakened their depth. But I think they've got undoubtedly one of the strongest starting 11s, you know, in the league. This game I knew was going to be troublesome when right off the bat they had to replace Correa, who was set to start, has given Atalanta fits in the past. Obviously a special player. You know, there's a reason why Juve is desperate to sign him for 50 million on some shady 2-year loan deal that's not going to happen. But look, our starting 11 is as strong as I think anybody's in the league. The depth is what is going to make our ability to compete on 2 fronts happen. And so I do think we've done an okay job, as we talked about, in the transfer market to hopefully be able to plug guys in. I don't think we've done enough, but I do think that we've got a really strong starting 11. I'm not one to overreact, and I know that's typically the case in Serie A. One bad match and it's all hell's happening, right? Look at what happened with Juve. Week 1, it's look how much fun we're having under Pirlo. Week 2, it's Pirlo is a disaster. And so, look, it's not as if Lazio lost to a Cagliari. Like, we lost to a team that was one of the top teams in Champions League last year. And so, for us, I'm not ready to panic whatsoever. You know, I do think we're not obviously one of the top clubs like a Manchester City or a Liverpool or an Atalanta. Like I do think that if I had to pick between the two, you're asking me to pick on a day that Lazio just lost 4-1 against Atalanta. It's going to be hard for me not to pick Atalanta as the team that goes further. But look, at the end of the day, I'm going to cop out and say, yeah, if I have to say it, I'm going to go Atalanta. But until we see those balls dropped on Friday with the draw, like it's going to be hard for me to say, because we could get really lucky with our draw and Atalanta could face a really, really tough one. You know, and that's kind of where it's all going to come from. So, you know, we'll see. Hopefully things happen favorably for us. But, you know, if we're in a group with Liverpool, Manchester City, like, we're screwed.
Yeah, I mean, I have 2 thoughts on that, on Champions League. And just like Sean, you know, nothing can be said until we see what the groups bring. But last year we were lucky with our draw in the group stages to get the teams that we did. Yeah, Man City was tough, but to be in pot 4 and to have Dinamo Zagreb and Shakhtar Donetsk, that's fortunate for us. And then we were fortunate to get Valencia in the round of 16, right? So but we still had to win all those games, right? We still had to do what we had to do. But today's performance, and Sean put it very well, like, it was not necessarily 4-1 was kind of flattering, but we had less possession, but we contained. We had some great one-on-one matchups tactically. We won most of those one-on-ones. The referee let us roughhouse a little bit, and that ruffled some feathers. But this is the type of game that we need to play in the Champions League, right? There's going to be teams who are going to outpossess us, who have quality just like Lazio, because Lazio is a Champions League quality team, especially in that first 11. So that gives me a lot of hope for the future of this Champions League, that we can play a game like this, where we have 40% possession and we still end up running less than the other team. And we're so clinical. So obviously Atalanta is learning.
No, absolutely. I think like every league, every competition, it's a whole nother beast, right? So whatever happens in Serie A happens in Serie A. Whatever happens in Champions League, Europa League, what have you, it's a different animal. So I agree with both you guys. Like Dan said, Atalanta maybe a bit lucky, a bit fortunate. Maybe Lazio, last season didn't put maybe their eggs in the Serie A basket rather than the European competition basket, but. I still think it comes down to luck. It's a whole other beast. You have to have the mentality. But my only scare is for Lazio, and Shawn, no offense to this, but it is that depth that scares me. They're the top 11. They're starting 11, excuse me. Like you said, like everybody knows that follows Serie A is top notch, top class. It's for me, myself, it's the depth that scares me. But listen, like I said, it's a whole other beast, and I think they can both do wonders in Europe. But moving on, it's kind of an off, not off topic, but kind of stemming away from what's on the pitch, with the clubs that you guys support. But we got a question from our good friend Joseph from Calcio Fan Blogs. He asks, how popular is Serie A in Vegas? We joked about the Vegas derby before with Atalanta and Lazio and you guys. Also, is it growing in popularity out there? You guys would know best to answer this question. What do you make of it?
Pretty slim pickings, to be honest. So, and that's
you're looking at
yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think you guys rep it, and that's probably maybe it. I don't know.
Yeah,
that one guy.
There's a couple guys that'll come out with us to watch some of the matches, which is nice. Obviously, Dan and I kind of spearhead, and this is why we'll come out to support. Not just coming out, and Dan's been out for Rome derbies and. Obviously we just love Serie A and love Calcio, but, both of us, I'm going to speak for Dan a little bit, but both of us just love Calcio so much that, it's the reason why we tried to start these groups, to bring fans in. There's not a lot of Atalantini, in Vegas or in the United States. There's not a ton of Laziali in Vegas or in the United States. And so, it's a lot of fun to find those few out there. But then share in our passion and try and grow the game. And so that's what we try to do in Vegas. Every time I wear my kit, I can tell you I'm just, I was getting coffee like a month ago and at a Dutch Brothers, one of my favorite coffee spots, and the guy handed me my coffee was like, oh, a Lazio jersey. And I was just like, ecstatic that he even knew who it was. And so that's the kind of like community that we're dealing with. Not a ton of Calcio fans. Certainly your English Premier League, certainly Liga MX with the Mexican league there. But, we're trying our best and growing it. And every time you can have a conversation, or if I'm in an Italian restaurant and I hear a little bit of an Italian accent, I'll speak to them, or I'll try and find out where they're from and who they support. So, little ways to kind of come together as a cultural community.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think the Italian influence in Vegas left with the mob. So Shawn's exactly right. It's a desert for Calcio as well. But I have to say, in the last few years, all of my friends who do sports betting have come to me a lot more, and there's a lot more action when it comes to Serie A betting. So I think the interest is there, and of course, the way that coverage on ESPN has been nothing but positive for the game. And just like today, I was out wearing this kit, and somebody was like, they even asked me if it was Lazio because of the color. I'm like, no, it's actually Atalanta, but we're playing later today. So this is the kit that I'll wear when we go and let the Rome derby. So it looks like I'm supporting Shawn a little bit to the untrained. But yeah, it's getting there. It's getting there. And Shawn's a great guy to have on your team when you're trying to promote something like Calcio. So I'm pleased with that.
Oh, absolutely.
Speaking about the strip, we have a question from our good friend Dom DeFazio. He's got it's more of a culinary question, and he wants to know what are your favorite spots to eat on the strip, and don't be generic. I don't know what he means by don't be generic, maybe because of the usual hot spots, but
like you can't say McDonald's. I think that's what he means.
Okay.
I mean, I'm a huge taco person, so like if you're going on the strip, Tacos El Gordo is really good. I love, off the strip, Taco y Taco is probably, my favorite place to go. I think I'm there every single Friday. They've got a couple of these around, not just the United States, but around the world. But I love Italy. Like, that place is awesome. For me, I have a lot of fun going there, going through their little mercato just brings a lot of positive memories for me from growing up. And so, those are probably my two favorite places on the strip. I don't know. What about you, Dan?
Well, I think you can attest to this, Sean, is that being Vegas locals, we don't go to the strip very often, maybe to go for a show or something like that. But my favorite restaurant on the strip actually is no longer, unfortunately. It was at the SLS Hotel, that's now the Sahara, and it was called Clio, and it was this Mediterranean place that had a fantastic happy hour, and they had these small plates that were really, really good. They had great drink specials. Just really one of my favorite restaurants. Unfortunately, it's gone. Things tend to switch a lot. When you talk about places to drink on the strip, I know a little bit more of that. You go. There's a couple bars in the Venetian that are fantastic, but like Sean said, off strip, definitely in Chinatown. We have a Chinatown in Vegas, believe it or not. There is some amazing Asian food, not just Chinese food, but Asian food in Chinatown in Vegas, and it's not too far. It's like a mile and a half off the strip. So I recommend anytime you come to Vegas, go to Chinatown and just eat around Asia. That's my tip for you, and it's way cheaper. Avoid the strip prices.
By the way, our friend Dom, he got engaged on the weekend, so shout out to him. Congrats to Dom and Sam.
Rudy. Yeah.
Oh, congrats! Bachelor party in Vegas.
Yeah, exactly. One positive.
First we gotta be able to go. First we gotta be able to get there. But once everything's over, maybe we'll make our way.
I can attest to Sean's point about Italy. When I was in Boston for New Year's, I went with my ex, but I mean, like, we stopped over there and stuff, and I was just amazed and blown away by the entire selection. I bought this wine that's like this peach wine thing. I don't know how to explain. It's Bellini, and I'm like, I want to drink this, but I don't know when. Like, I want to. It just looks so good, and I'm like, we don't have an Italy in Montreal, so it's like I should probably wait until I go back. Well, there's one in Toronto, I think, actually.
It's funny how this show went from the Calcio Guys to the Cucina Guys. But,
I'm down. I'm totally down.
If it is International Podcast Day, that we spread the love on Twitter just before to all the great podcasts that follow us and that share the love that we do. But maybe the Cucina Guys coming up next with the five of us.
I do have a Calcio question though. I do have a Calcio question, and it's about the Italian national team. So good transition. They're back next week, friendly against Moldova, and the Nations League against Poland and the Netherlands. They're no Insigne. I don't know if Romagnoli's still hurt. Based on the last two games for Italy, and based on everything in the Serie A, like what are you guys hoping for with the Azzurri this time around? What do you guys expect?
I think Chiesa should play wing back. That's what I think.
Oh shit!
Don't get me started on Chiesa.
Here we go. Chiesa talk again.
This is where he shows that Nicholas's soccer knowledge is like over here because he thinks Chiesa's bad.
No, go ahead. I have nothing but jokes right now, so go. Let's be serious.
I mean, look, Chiesa at wingback has played, fairly well, I thought, in that position, at least the first match that I saw him play. But, what do I hope for? I mean, as a Laziale, I hope, for Ciro to play well, and bag a couple goals. And I guess more than anything, bag a couple goals, because even when he plays well, people ignore the fact that he contributes in other areas. He can have an assist. People ignore it. It's a what has he done on the score sheet for me, type of abuse that he gets from Azzurri fans around the world. And so, I love the Azzurri, first and foremost, have been following them since I was a small child. But, this is probably one of those rare times where I almost cheer for Ciro as much as I do for the Azzurri because of the abuse I see him get, that I think a lot of times it's unfair, especially for a player that, what you want to see as a fan is a player that just gives their all for La Maglia. And I think he does that, both for the Azzurri and for Lazio. And you can't help but, love a player that does so much and sacrifices and, does so much for the players around him. And, there's a lot of unfortunate, a lot of people that don't watch the games or, don't really understand the game of calcio. And so, it's easy to critique him if he maybe misses an opportunity. But, there's 11 guys on the pitch and they all got to provide for one another. And he does a lot of that. And so the runs that he makes often lead to goals. The passes, the one touches, he plays such a game that's predicated on, such small margins of errors because he sits on the shoulder of a defender, and it's really all about timing. And what's really difficult when you play on the national team, because you don't get those opportunities to play with those guys game in and game out. And so, I thought he looked really well against the Netherlands and coming up with a big assist. And, but again, everybody kind of ignores those things. So, as much as I want to see us win, I want to see Ciro bag a couple goals and play well too.
Sean, I'm going to back you up on that. Even as a Roma fan, I always like to see Ciro find success because he does get a lot of flack for no reason at all. And I think it has to do with the fact that he's following a golden generation of Italian players that everyone was so spoiled to see. And now they expect the same type of success or results whenever he plays. And a lot of people tend to forget that, he doesn't have the same quality given him. Like, it's gotten better. And obviously that's where we're seeing more success. But we went through a dark period. And unfortunately, this is happening during Ciro's peak career time, So it's something that he really gets so much crap for when it's unnecessary.
He's the scapegoat.
Yeah, and it's a piss off.
I appreciate that. From a Romanista, I appreciate that because look, we know the failures that the Azzurri saw. The greatest failure, in our nation's history to not qualify for a World Cup. And unfortunately, as a player for a club like Lazio that doesn't have as much support as a Juventus, as a Milan, as Inter, look, who are they going to turn to? It's not very often that they're going to turn against one of their own. And so I think that's also part of it. We know there are, tensions in Italy when it comes to the north and the south. And Ciro is from Napoli. And that's the unfortunate reality that, it makes it a little bit easier for people to hate on him. I had a conversation with somebody online that was just like, he told me that, Ciro was just a douchebag. Right. And I was like, well, explain, give me an example. He's like, you can see it on his Instagram. And I was like, okay, I follow the man. Let me go to his Instagram page. And it's like, what do you hate about his Instagram? Is it the fact that he loves his wife, has photos with his children, has photos of him and his Lazio kid and supporting his team? He's just like Balotelli. And I was like, all right, well, now we're making things up, and so that's
not fair. Balotelli's from Brescia. You can't compare the two. Balotelli's from Brescia. Okay, that in itself is not okay. But what I want to see though, Sean, because that's a good shout out. And Ciro, like we saw today, Freuler shut down Luis Alberto, and it's the service that Ciro gets, and he works so hard when he has that Azzurri jersey on to make space for himself and other people, and he's not getting the service. I'd love to see Locatelli get a little bit more time with him because I think, I want to see we have a young Italian team. I think Locatelli, the way he plays at Sassuolo, it was nice to see him get his first game time in the last match. So I think that Locatelli would be nice to have there to see what he can do with Ciro, see if he can provide a little bit better service.
Yeah, I agree. I think going even back to the Immobile talk, I agree. I think it's fans. They're so honed in. They see a lot Immobile score timeless amount of goals, and Lazio or just every team he's been with, and then he puts on the Nazionale jersey, and it's not the same product, and they're easy to pinpoint that. So I think you need, as I said before, going back, this is another tie-in. Serie A is Serie A. Nazionale is a Nazionale. Champions League, it's all different animals, different beasts. So it's hard criticism, and I know us three here, we're behind Ciro. We love the guy, and he's our guy up top, right? If it's not him, who is it going to be? Is it going to be Belotti? Is it going to be other guys? Our boy Chicho Caputo, I don't know. But no, Immobile is the guy, I think, going forward, and we hate to see, that type of flack. But again, going on the service point, I think, Dan brought up a good point with Locatelli. He's been playing really well. Ex-Milan, player as well. I got to put that in there. But I would like to see Castrovilli, behind the striker trequartista role. I think, he's got the number 10 in Florence at the moment. He's playing with a lot of swagger in Firenze, and I think, they got to get him in there. I think he deserves a spot, I think, on the squad, and I think he can be that guy that behind the striker, can provide that, that final ball, maybe a la Luis Alberto, that Ciro sees, in Lazio. So, for me personally, I think Castrovilli should get a nod because we're not sure if we're going to have Zaniolo. I think I would put Zaniolo there too, but Castrovilli for me definitely should get a shout.
Anyways, guys, before we let you go, where can we find you on social media, Adrian? It's usually you asking these national team questions and the social media questions, but this time I'll take it over.
But no, honestly, before you guys go, thank you so much.
Sure.
We obviously Jerry and Alex Dono, they kind of, they got you guys first. We're not going to forget that. The Calcio Connection, definitely follow them. But we knew we had to get you on, especially right after Lazio-Atalanta. So, like Nick said, where can we find you guys on Twitter and all social medias?
Go ahead, Dan.
Well, Twitter is definitely the best for me. You can follow my Las Vegas supporters group at Atalanta_Vegas. And then you can also follow my personal page at ubits_1981. Like I said in Jerry's pod, Jerry and Alex's pod, right now there's a bunch of angry stuff about the Raiders on that personal one. So I don't know if you want to see it. But you guys can also follow my podcast that I do together with Nige over in England from @Atalanta BC News. Atalanta Pod. So that's going to be a weekly pod that we put out. We started that up again, and so that's a lot of fun. It's the only English language podcast that I know of that covers Atalanta in depth. So if you guys are interested, check us out, all the major podcast platforms.
Beautiful.
For myself, you can follow my personal on Twitter at Shawn_McIntosh, and then our Las Vegas Laziali group at LV Laziali, and then myself and Stephen Moore from the Laziali just kicked off. I don't know if we want to call it a podcast necessarily, but more like a web series channel on YouTube. Dan, shout out for coming on our program, but it's called the Biancocelesti Broadcast. Give us a subscribe on YouTube. Check our videos out. We'll be coming out with a lot of cool content here throughout the season. So.
No, absolutely. We've definitely, we love what you guys are doing in Vegas, or Shawn East Coast now. But we love what you guys are doing. Like we said at the top of the show, bringing that cultural community. We've been saying now, pretty much almost every week, every guest seems to have like a inspiring set of words about bringing the community together. And us here, we love to hear that. So thanks again, boys, for coming on, and we'll definitely have you guys on in the future.
Absolutely. Thanks for having us.
Thank you so much. Really fun.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, guys.
Coming, guys.
Thanks.
Ciao.
Well, they've just made another mistake. Mountains into the path of Lozano. It's 4. And it's all far too easy for Napoli.
Back to the Calcio Guys after that great conversation with Dan Pezzotta and Sean McIntosh. A unique conversation because we don't get to do that too often, where we have multiple guests of different teams too. We did it once, I think, with Dom, Jan, and Nando. So that was cool too. The two Vegas guys, pretty much 50% of Calcio fans in Vegas. So that's good to see.
Yeah.
We'll talk some Serie A now. So Milan off to a good start, 2-0. I mean, Crotone, pretty easy win. Roma Juve this weekend. What a weird game. Kind of a mirroring game. Like two handball penalties, and then Roma comes away with the counterattack goal. Vertu, man, this guy stole the show from Ronaldo. Who would have thought that?
Not me.
No, but I think the big one of the weekend was the 6-0 Napoli over Genoa, and then
dismantling.
To make matters worse for Genoa, 14 positive COVID tests. 14 Crazy. After the game.
Wow. It was a scary sight because a lot of the players got into each other's faces.
Yeah.
And you don't...
The Osimhen Masiello picture, they were basically kissing.
God.
I don't know if you guys saw that. They gave a nice smooch. I don't know.
They got results back today. Everybody tested negative. They're going to do another one again tomorrow or Thursday. No, sorry. Tomorrow's Thursday. They're going to do another one tomorrow. And they're going to do another one on Saturday just to make sure everything's A-okay. I honestly hope that they're not lying about these tests because, when it comes to Serie A, people like to make up these conspiracy theories. I read up some today that maybe they're saying that it's negative when it's actually positive just because De Laurentiis lied about having coronavirus when they had that managers meeting, that owners meeting, and he was not wearing a mask and he was positive with it. So they're like, maybe Napoli's going to do it to try to get some Juve players sick. Honestly, I don't think they are. That's really pathetic. I mean, but then again, conspiracy theories exist. But to relate more towards the game, which is the more important thing, fantastic showing. The scoreline was much more generous than it actually should have been. It wasn't as if it was just Genoa just had a complete meltdown. It wasn't as if Napoli. I'm really happy for the 6 goals. Don't get me wrong. It shows that the offense was firing all cylinders. Osimhen is just fitting very well with the group. I love the fact that Napoli's just got so many different pieces they can switch in and out on the offense, on the fly. It's fantastic. Makes everything look dynamic. But I mean, we got very lucky to get 6 goals. I honestly thought it was going to probably be at most a 3-goal game for Napoli, but they doubled it, and at most goals that they can get. But because especially that a lot of them are newer pieces on the offense. But Mertens playing as a trequartista is actually pretty good too.
They definitely made Genoa look like a Serie A B team, and Adreano, your team played a Serie A B team, and they're going to play another Serie A B team this weekend. I don't know, right in the middle when they're trying to qualify for Europa League. I don't know. They get the easy schedule. What is this?
I mean, listen, that's the eggs. Those are the cards we were dealt, and we're gonna ride with it. Like we say, there's no easy games in Serie A. Milan has had trouble with these bottom feeder teams in the past, so. Alla Benevento, with the Bernoulli goal there, so that we don't like to think about. But, Benevento looks scary, and Milan looks pretty good. I mean, obviously, no Ibra. Again, like Nick said, maybe the easier games to start off the season, it kind of maybe fell, perfectly for them. But again, those are not things that you can plan for, right? So for me, it was great to see. Tonali get his first start for Milan. Brahim Diaz get his first start for Milan, getting his first goal as well. The loanee there from Real Madrid. He looks like a nice Spanish spark on the right-hand side. So, I mean, listen, they hope play Spezia next week. But, Spezia today, don't get me wrong, man, they looked okay against, again, maybe a future Serie B team if Nick's predictions are correct this year. Terrible game for Udinese, but Spezia first win in Serie A. That's a big milestone for them.
Foul turns, forced back, and the shot comes in, driven home. What a wonderful strike! Letizia up from the back, and Benevento have taken the lead here.
Galabin obviously onside. What a way this will be to finish the match. He has all the time. He puts it under the keeper, and Spezia win their first game in Serie A.
So you heard the goals of Letizia for Samp. For Benevento against Samp, and then Galabinov for Spezia against Udinese. So 2 Serie B teams already winning in the Serie A, which is good to see. Benevento, last time they were in it, they picked up their first points 15 games into the season. They lost 14 straight games, 15 games into the season, and it was the game against Milan with Brignoli's goal.
But their squad is just totally different, even from the last time up, right? Like we said it in our preview show. This Benevento team, can give some teams some trouble. They have some guys that they brought in with Serie A experience, and they got a great legend of the game and Pippo Inzaghi, leading the troops out there too. So. I think it's a good package right now for Benevento. Again, very, very early on in the season. We'll see how things go. But I think out of the 3 promotion teams this season, like we said in our preview, I think Benevento will do pretty well.
I wanted to say Udinese. They lost to Verona. They looked awful today. Like, rumors are De Paul is going to leave. There's just, like, if I'm a Udinese fan, I'm super worried, no? Well, that's Gianni. Gianni's been quiet.
I mean, you should be, because he's been one of those big names for the longest time that's been linked to being sold every not actually since the beginning of this transfer window. And I feel like as if they lose him, they pretty much lose. I don't want to say everything because that would be way too dramatic, but they lose a very integral part. Because no matter where he goes, like I'm not saying he's bad, he's talented, but he's just going to be a piece to the puzzle. He's going to be a great addition to whatever team he gets added to. Whereas in Udinese, he's just like one of the biggest pieces. And if you remove him, now you have a bigger hole to fill. And that just puts them lower in the standings. So, I mean, it's a catch-22 because you definitely want to cash in on any potentially amazing deals that might come along your way so that you can take that money and funnel it into other future players that can be bigger for you. Or, if you don't trust yourself to be able to reinvest that properly, do you just hold on to him but then potentially ruin his career and probably drive it into the ground? It's a hard spot to be in.
Ruin his career. He's already ruining it at Udinese. But I want to ask quick. I want to just
him in lasagna.
Guys, him in lasagna. Yeah, he's eating lasagna. But do you guys think even that De Paul can even make the jump to a bigger club? Like, does he have the quality?
You know what?
As a sub, yes.
I said it. During the last Serie A season.
Yeah.
Like, it is a bit of a touchy subject, but I think if you're truly an elite player ready to make a jump to a big club, your team wouldn't be fighting relegation. Especially when you're the number 10, you're gonna lift that team at least to the mid-table. At least, if this guy's a number 10 on a relegation team, imagine what he's gonna be doing on a good team. Like, he's a bench player. He's a bench player on any European, Europa League or Champions League team. I don't see him as a starter in many places in the Serie A. There are a few teams that you could argue that they need a number 10. Like, if he goes to Fiorentina, he fits into Fiorentina well. Even with Milan, I don't see him as a starter. With Roma possibly because Zaniolo's injured. Yeah. Definitely not Napoli. He's a bench player at Juventus. He is a good player. He is talented, but I think the bigger teams have to be a bit cautious.
I think it's a bit unfair to say that, all the pressure applies onto him. It is a team sport. Yes, each team has those individual stars, but it's not something like De Paul's not going to be like a Ronaldo where him himself can win games. He's the type of player that he adds to the win. He's he's a slice of the bread of the whole sandwich. Let's say he's not the entire sandwich. He's not.
You shouldn't be paying 50 million for a piece of mortadella then.
Yeah. No, but you pay for the potential sandwich that he could bring. Yeah, but that's the inflated market value today. You have to blame the Premier League for overinflating certain players, and then that's why when it comes to the market, it's like, oh, but that guy at the Prem got this much, and why shouldn't I not be worth that much?
I don't think so. But what I do think is that we have a future with this Cucina guys, with all these culinary references. The Cucina guys coming to an ear near you.
And here's Alexis Sanchez. Hakimi continues his run. Lukaku! What a start that is for Inter. Inside 30 seconds.
Some rare old battles between these in the past. And De
D'Ambrosio at the back post. 2 goals in a minute for Inter. The relief is palpable.
Inter, wild game on the weekend against Fiorentina. 4-3 comeback win. The superstar D'Ambrosio scored the winning goal. And then today, I mean, they just cruised by Benevento 5-2. Man, this Inter team looks fucking good. Sorry to swear, but I need to put some emphasis there. But wow, they look good. I think they look like the team like you do on like FIFA career mode when you just buy all the players for depth, and you just buy and buy. Like it's as if Conte's buying every single fullback in the world. Like, man, leave some for us. Now with the five sub rule, I saw some people on Instagram and Twitter saying it's not fair to smaller teams because Inter has so much talent coming off the bench. Well, that's their problem. There's more problems in soccer between the top and the bottom than just the 5 sub rule, right? I mean, we knew from the beginning they were going to challenge for the Scudetto, but they've definitely backed up their words pretty much.
Yeah, I think if I can go first, I guess we said it from like Nick said when we did our preview just before the whole season, even into last season, they had a good squad. Coming to this season, they upgraded too, and I do feel they put a lot in their Serie A basket. A lot of their eggs in this basket, and to try to finally dethrone the mighty Juventus. So. But listen, when we saw their game against Fiorentina, 7-goal thriller. They had 2 7-goal thrillers that Nick mentioned, right, in these 2 past games, and the difference was I think on the bench too. They were bringing on Vidal and Nainggolan. You saw that infamous picture on Twitter in that Fiorentina match. They come on. And those are 2, I'm not gonna say Forte Costa world class midfielders, but they're pretty up there, right? So. I think they're looking good. They made a lot of additions. One in particular that had a great game today, great debut game, was Hakimi. I'm going to save that a bit for later too. But he really looked good. I'm kind of a little jealous that he chose blue and black rather than red and black, but because I think we could have used him on our right hand side at Milan. So, but yeah, Conte doing Conte things so far. We'll see when the schedule heats up and when Champions League does happen. We'll see if they crumble or not. But so far, so good over at Inter.
I think that Inter, what they're trying to do is that they're don't forget they had that meeting at the beginning of the season between management, ownership, and Conte. It just seems like as if they're trying to cash in on a championship now. If you notice, a lot of their purchases, they're not on future talents. They're more like on guys who are either A, in their primes, or B, reaching the end of their primes, and they're the players that are hungry to win some form of a championship. So, or have one in terms of like the Scudetto, because Vidal is a Scudetto. How many Scudetti did he win with Juve? 3? Was it 2 or 3?
4, I believe.
4. Okay, even more.
2011. Okay. Yeah, he was there in 2011 to 2015.
Okay, so
there you go.
I thought he came a little bit later. Well, anyways, as I'm getting off topic here, the point is that they want to cash in on a championship now, so they're going to go get those players that can win that now, which also will help in their Champions League pushes. But what is a scary sign to see is that they're doing everything for this season. They're trying to push so much for this season that they can. There's a lot of room for there's very little room for error, and if they don't attain any of their goals this year, I don't think even a Coppa Italia would satisfy them. I think they want either a Scudetto or even a Champions, a deep Champions League run. They don't get either or. I think Conte's
looking for a double.
And that's why they're doing so much this year.
Scudetto, Coppa Italia. I don't know if they don't get that, it's a failure, but I think they need a trophy. Like you're saying, it's now, right? Kolarov, Vidal, bringing back Perisic, these guys that are a bit older. It's now for Inter. If it's not now, it ain't coming tomorrow.
Yeah, there is that rumor that Nainggolan is still in the process of maybe being sold to Cagliari, but
he might go back
to Cagliari.
Nick, you were gonna say.
No, I was just gonna say I honestly believe like Inter, their main goal is the Scudetto. They just want to end the run. I think that's their main goal.
That's it.
Okay, you guys want to do MVPs and cards? Do you want to do one card or two cards each?
Well, we'll do one card.
One card, okay.
Yeah.
I'll take it away. We'll start with the cards. I'll take it away. I'm gonna give it to the Serie A / the COVID protocols that kind of failed this weekend. I mean, compared to the first game back from lockdown back in June to now, there's a lot less masks on the bench. No, distancing after games, before games, coaches hugging each other, players hugging each other, players standing right in the ref's face. I understand during the game there's not much you can do, but it's all about eliminating unnecessary close contact after the game, long exposures after the game, before the game. Even in the stands, like, sure, 1,000 fans, but in a lot of these stadiums, these 1,000 fans were all in the same section, and it really defeated the purpose. Like, I was watching the Bologna game, and it looked like a normal game just in one section. I saw, like, some fans even smoking, I think everybody's just a bit relaxed. Obviously, sure, players are tested, and I think they were tested every day up until, like, last week, where now they're just getting tested before the game, which could have also been a problem with the Genoa, because they tested negative before the game, but there could easily be false negatives, right? So I think the Serie A just let its guard down a bit. You just need to be smart. Distance, mask. Why hug each other after the game?
Mask over the nose.
Over the nose.
That's the worst.
The referee's got to tell the players when they get too close and argue, hey, like, come on, please stand 2 meters away. Especially when you argue, you're spit. I'm no doctor, but I know arguing with someone really close isn't good, So I just got to give a yellow card to the league. They kind of dropped the ball on this one, and hopefully they learn from it.
This is definitely going to be another yellow.
You guys?
Hey, Ja, what are you thinking? I see what you're writing here, and you're wearing the jersey, so take it away.
So my yellow card of the week has to go to AS Roma in general. Not just, I was thinking originally just put it on Dzeko, but then I realized it's not Eden's fault completely. Fonseca using only 2 subs out of the 5, making an incorrect sub with Perez. The lack of not having just a secondary striker to replace Dzeko, as I mentioned earlier before in the podcast. And it's a great discussion that I've noticed on Roma Twitter that they brought up really solid points. You need a guy who could just play those last 15, 20 minutes when Dzeko doesn't have that gas anymore. It doesn't have to be a top-tier striker, but somebody who has confidence going in saying that, okay, you know what, if we need a goal, I can get it, and if I don't score, it's fine as long as we're in a lead and I can shut it down. And there was a lot of great opportunities by team in general, and it's especially versus Juve, and you come back, you're coming off like a forfeited game because of a stupid error that was out of your control. You should be hungry for that W. You should be like, no, this is let's bounce back. We can use this as a bounce back game. And if you beat Juve out of it, and soundly, like, not to disrespect Juve, Nicholas, but in the first half they were dominating Juventus completely. Like, I'm surprised like Mickey got on that run. Like, I was just like, since when? It's just something. It was a game that I was not expecting to go that way. I'll talk better things about Juve later, but Roma gets my yellow card for a very big missed opportunity this weekend.
It's a late challenge, surely maybe the first yellow of the match.
Yeah, for sure. I think considering the 10 men for Juve, I think Juve won a point and Roma dropped points in that one for sure.
Yes, that's another point I forgot to mention. That Rabiot was out early too.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's but listen, I still think maybe even though Roma, like Nick said, dropped a point where maybe they should have all 3, I still think they'll definitely take that point and run, So definitely escaped in that game. But for me, yellow card. We spoke about it earlier. I'm gonna have to give it to Udinese in the Udinese Spezia match. Again, this is a big up for Spezia. Congratulations to them getting that first Serie A win in their 114-year history, I believe it was. It's a huge achievement for them. But on the other end, like we spoke about earlier, Udinese, terrible. They're not even convincing. Like you had Spezia, first time in Serie A, beat you with 10 men on top of it. It gives credit to Spezia. What's the manager's name? Italiano, I think his last name is over there, leading the line. Vincenzo Italiano over there, working wonders with Spezia. But on the other end, was it Massimo Gotti? That's still Udinese's manager.
Luca Gotti.
Luca Gotti, whatever the hell his name is. Luca Gotti, Udinese, yellow card for me. Terrible. I don't care. They have De Paul, no De Paul, yellow card.
And he now sees a flash of yellow before his eyes.
I just want to say, is that guy's last name Italiano?
Yeah.
Vincenzo Italiano.
It's funny. Like, it's only in Italy. Like, like in Canada, you don't hear anybody saying, "Oh, what's your name, Joe Canadian?"
Robert Canada. Rob Canada.
Well, there was a CFL player. His last name was Canada, if I'm not mistaken.
Was it?
I think
spelled
so.
The same way.
I think
the same way.
Played for the
but
back in the day.
Okay, it would make sense if somebody's last name was Italia, but I mean, like, it's just Italiano, so it's like Canadian.
Italiano.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Shout out and also shout out Matteo Ricci, midfielder for Spezia. He checked out our Instagram story.
I was about to bring him up.
So shout out.
He actually scored, but it was ruled out. So Udinese let Spezia score 3 goals, basically.
Yeah. And don't get us started about scoring goals and not counting. Our boy Chicho Caputo, 4 goals. Only one went in. I'm sorry to swear, but 4 damn goals and only 1 went in. That counted. Sorry.
So I guess we'll do MVPs. I'm gonna have to give it to Galabinov from Spezia. We're talking a lot about Spezia. Maybe Spezia is the new Empoli or the new
the Spezia boys.
Cucina boys, Spezia guys. Shout out Spezia English on Twitter. I saw they have a Twitter account. The English Twitter. So shout out.
Galabinov. So he scored 2 goals against Udinese. He scored 1 against Sassuolo. Basically scored Spezia's first ever goal in Serie A. Man, he looks like a big, strong number 9. Like I know he's the number 9 on a bottom team, but he looks like his play style is your typical number 9. He looks like he plays well with his back to goal. He's big and strong. He gets away from defenders, and I've never heard of this guy before this weekend, but I like what I saw from him, and 3 goals, 2 games. He gets my MVP of the week. You guys?
Ja, you want to take it away?
Sure. My MVP is going to have to go to Cristiano Ronaldo. Shout out to Dom DeFazio because he said it perfectly. Your star players are supposed to come up big in games that you think you lose and somehow salvage something from it. And Ronaldo with that big tying goal, especially a man down, like I had to tweet, like those Dzeko misses are really going to come bite us in the ass later on. And what happened? Ronaldo made us get punished hard. And I like you want that. That's why you buy those superstars, to make you get those points that you think are gone or done for, and just somehow either find a way to salvage those points or even get you to W. He's done it many times in the past before. He has a whole gigantic list, but this weekend he demonstrated it against Roma, and I have to give him full credit for that. That's why he's my MVP.
Better this from Juve. Danilo for Ronaldo. Oh, it's sensational. The leap is truly remarkable.
Adreano.
But no, Johnny said it right, man. Star player. Dom said it right too. Shout out Dom again. Just got engaged. We love Dom. This is like the Dom show too, man. Everybody's getting a show this week.
It's a lifestyle show this week. You talk about engagement, about cooking
stuff.
Who needs the view when you have us?
Yeah, exactly.
That's it. And I think we're pretty cool. So not just joking, but yeah, I think Ronaldo, Ronaldo again. He found CR7 Airlines once again, pulling back out of the game against Sampdoria where he jumped.
No, I think he jumped
in the air, but yeah, no, Gianni, I like that nod, but again, sorry, I'm gonna go back. We were saying a bit.
Your Wi-Fi, Adri. Contact Bell.
Kifat.
You look like this looks like it's shot on a toaster oven.
He's using his toaster oven camera recording.
I bet. So, I don't know, but anyways, I'm going back. We spoke about it a bit before with the Inter game. I said a bit about Hakimi, but for me this week, Hakimi MVP of the week. got his first Serie A start with Inter. Goal and an assist. He provided, Lukaku 28 seconds in with a beautiful assist. And then he got a goal of his own later on in the match. I think this is going to be not only an upgrade for the right back position on FIFA, but I think, just in general in the league, I think will be great. I think it seems like he's settling in pretty well so far. Again, I'm jealous he didn't come to Milan, but you know what? I think he's going to be dangerous if he can get continuous starts on the right flank and provide Lukaku or Lautaro or whoever is, leading the line. I think it could be a dangerous duo. So for me this week, Hakimi, MVP.
Wait till Adreano returns back to normal. Spend the whole time buffering, but that's okay. This is what happens when you got to stay home, right? There's always going to be
Hakimi MVP.
Yeah. And there were a lot of what?
I was going to say just fast. Whenever we're at my friend's house, his internet disconnected every time somebody used the microwave. So I'm wondering if it's the same thing for Adreano.
I don't think anybody's warming anything up. Maybe somebody's... I don't know, man. Maybe somebody's flushing the toilet. I don't know.
That's what happens in my house too, by the way.
Something's going on.
If you're in the kitchen, the microwave's on, and you're on your phone, the Wi-Fi is not.
It's
not there. You got to go downstairs or upstairs.
One time though, like my buddy's like, "You guys, you'll never guess what my sister was making in the microwave to disconnect from the internet." I'm like, "What is it?" She's like, "A potato." I'm like, "Oh my god." Sure, you have a potato internet? Is that what it is? Anyways, that's just a funny story of my life.
There were a lot of good candidates too this week. Gomez, Luca Caldiola, Lautaro Martinez. A lot of guys who scored 2 goals, had 2 assists. Roberto Soriano, 2 goals, 1 assist for Bologna in the Derby win. A lot of good names.
You see that nipple celebration too? You see that nipple celebration?
Nipple celebration.
I hope we're hearing this right, because you're still buffering, but you said nipple, right?
He touched it. Didn't he celebrate with nipple celebration? I saw a picture. Like he kissed his nipple or something. I don't know. Is that not true?
Adri, hang up the call and come back on.
Okay.
Little technical difficulties, but that will pretty much wrap it up. We'll wait till Adreano comes back on, so he could finish his sentence. Gianni, what shampoo do you use?
Whatever I have in the house. I don't really have a specific brand. Besides with the very little hair that I have left, I just use it to clean my scalp once every couple of days and stuff. But
it's a lifestyle show. I think Adriano is really experiencing problems today.
Yeah, that's a very busy microwave tonight, I guess. Yeah, but it happens. I've had moments where I've had terrible internet before as well. It's unfortunate that it happens in the middle of the show, but I've been disconnected many times from very important things, and you're like rushing to get back as fast as you can, hopefully not to miss a lot of details and stuff. But but what was he talking about? That nipple celebration?
I have no idea. Roberto Soriano. Let's see, is he back? Okay, Adriano's back.
He's back.
We got to know about this nipple celebration.
I could have sworn I saw it. He kissed his nipple. He had a tattoo on. This guy has tons of tattoos, but I think he kissed his nipple. I'm pretty sure. We have to check it out. But I think he
have to post that on social media, Adriano.
Maybe.
And before we go, where can you find us on social media?
Well, first off, I want to say, this whole bringing the community together, we fucking love that stuff, right? We said it from day one. That's kind of what we're all about as well. We love the game. We love Calcio. We love the Azzurri, which I'm super psyched to have them back again next week. But the guys over at Far From Vesuvius, the podcast Scudetto predictions pool, still going on, still going strong. They've been doing good work over there. And you know, we're still in it. I think, you know, our selection for this game with the Lazio-Atalanta didn't look too good because we picked the draw. But again, we just want to shout out all those guys, all the participants in that. But where you can find us, at the Calcio Guys on all social media platforms, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook as well. And catch our podcast, give us a like, subscription, all that good stuff on all your favorite podcasting platforms. And hopefully we'll be back next week to give you another episode of the Calcio Guys.
Thanks for listening. Thanks for listening.
Ciao. Ciao.
Bye.
The Calcio Guys is a weekly podcast by Adreano DiNardo, Gianni Dellacoli, and myself, Nicholas DiGiovanni. We want to bring Calcio back to its roots in our communities and share stories from around the world about why we're passionate about the beautiful game. You can listen to us anywhere where you listen to your podcasts, including Spreaker, Google Podcasts, iTunes, Spotify, iHeart Radio, and Mixcloud. Give us your opinion on social media at The Calcio Guys on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The outro song is The Last Ones by Jazar.